Hello, I'm Scarecrow85, and this is... Oh, look at that. Oh, we got a request. Nice. Thank you for that. Spirit tea, is it? Okay then, well, here, let's talk about spirit tea. So Spirittea was made by a Canadian developer called Cheesemaster. It was released about a week ago. So I decided I would play it for a week and give you my opinions on it as soon as I could, because this game is still new. Let's talk about it, because obviously this is a game in the style of Stardew Valley and Harvest Moon. You could even go so far as to say things like Animal Crossing and stuff like that. Really, and Cozy Grove actually, this reminded me of just a tiny little bit. Essentially, it's a slice of life kind of cozy game. It's the kind of thing that you would play to just sit back on the sofa on a rainy afternoon and just play a few hours of. And it will be a few hours. This thing's addictive. Like it draws you in. It's a little life sim, and it's so chill and it's so nice. There are pros and cons to this. I do have some complaints, but obviously it's not much. They're pretty minor, and this thing is huge. What I've garnered from my playthrough of it. What have I done? I've done like six days, I think, at point of recording. I've played it every day. I've played as much as I can. I've got as far as I can in that time. I've tried not to rush it, but I also tried to see as much as I could to give you the best possible idea in this review. So your character is a writer. You get to design your character's look. And there's a little character customizer at the start of the game that lets you decide what your character should look like and what they should generally appear like in the game. You can also get customization options that unlock later in the game as well, other clothing options, things like that, which is always appreciated. I love that stuff personally. The intro to the game is really pretty, very scenic, of you travelling out to the countryside, and you're staying in this house in a small town. It does that, if you play Stardew Valley, you'll know that there's an early quest in that game where it requires you to go and meet every single person in the town. And I found that annoying in Stardew Valley because the people in the town are always moving about. So it's kind of difficult to find them all, even if you think you know where they are, because they might not be. But this game has a pretty elegant solution to that, which is that it gives you, I think the monk from the nearby monastery lends you his pet dog, and the dog will go with you. You can pet the dog and play with it, which is just wonderful. But also, the dog will guide you to anyone that you can't find. So if you're having trouble, I didn't use the dog on principle. I was like, no, I'm going to find these people because I want to know where they are. I want to orientate myself in this world. But if you do have trouble finding a particular person, you can use the dog and he'll sniff them out for you, which is nice. That's only for the intro, mind you. That's not a feature of the game. What you do have in the game is the map, which is absolutely brilliant. I love the map. Here's a clip of the map. What is not to love about a dancing map? But no, I honestly though, I liked the character that builds. It shows that there's some love gone into this thing. It's more than just any other game would just have a clinical map. This game is oozing with charm and just delightful little details like that all over the place. If you stop the game and look in the menu, it's like a winding tree with all the options being held by bears and different things that are just... It's so much more than they went so above and beyond with this, and I appreciate that. After meeting everyone in the town, you're invited to go back to your house and sleep, and sort of begin your daily life in the town. Early on, you're also made aware that there are strange things going on in the town. There's a sign up, there's like a bulletin board near the store where people can put notifications, and a lot of the notices going up are about vandalism or weird things going on in town, things going missing, that kind of thing. And you will be witness to some strange goings on for yourself. The town appears to be haunted. That shouldn't come as a surprise. The game is called Spirittea. Right? So, pretty much very early on, second day I think it is, you will drink tea from your ancient teapot. and doing so allows you to see into the spirit world. This is a mechanic in the game. So once you've drunk the spirit tea, you'll be introduced to Wanyan, who is your friend for this game. He's more than just a Navi or an Omachow. He's there to guide you through it and give you advice and stuff, but he is very much a character in his own right. And you're going to be needing to, well, I say need, you've got no choice. You've got to do what he tells you. He's kind of in charge of you now, and he enlists you into helping out with the spirit problem that's happening in the town, which leads you to the bathhouse, and that's the other main chunk of this game. So if you think of it as like a farming sim, you've effectively got the town with its people and your house, and then you've got the farm. In this case, it's a bathhouse. And it has that same sort of dynamic that you would expect from those kinds of games. I must say it's quite fresh. I like it. It makes a nice change. I mean, don't get me wrong. I bloomin' love Story of Seasons, formerly known as Harvest Moon. And I fully enjoy other farming sims. I've been playing a lot of Fae Farm. I used to play Room Factory. I'm not going to list off all the games I've played, but you get the idea. Like, I'm well into that stuff. But most of it is farming games. Like, I'm trying to think of anything that isn't. They almost always go for farming. And even games that aren't like that, like Hocko Life and Animal Crossing and things like that, they still throw farming in there. There's very often still a farm aspect to them. I don't know if you can do farming in Spirittea. I'm not sure. Maybe that's something that unlocks later. As I say, I've only played a week. But at this point in time, as far as I know, there's no... you don't grow any crops of your own. Also, on a side note, Wanyan is really well written as a character. His dialogue is very sharp. He's a great character, and I would go so far as to say that all of the characters in the town are very well written. Their character portraits are also extremely well drawn. I really like the artwork in this game. Anyway, the bathhouse. Let's talk bathhouse. So the way the bathhouse works, you have several different functions and features within the bathhouse. First of all, you're going to need to ring the bell at the door to open the bathhouse. Doing so will allow the spirits to enter. Once they come in, they'll need a towel. So the game will give you towels to start with. They need cleaning in the kitchen. The kitchen has a sink and it has a drying area. So you clean them and then you dry them. Once they're dry, you can take them to the front door where the spirits will pick them up. In order to dry the towels, you'll need the furnace running, so you can go down into the furnace room, the boiler room. There's a branch of a magical tree down there that you can cut with a hacksaw and it will grow back. Not only does keeping the fires burning keep the water warm, which of course pleases your guests, but also it means that other steam-powered things within the bathhouse are also functioning, such as the ability to dry the towels. So once you have dry towels, you take them to the front door, the spirits come in, pick them up. Once you take their towel, they'll follow you. So you can guide them to whatever bath you deem suitable for them, and you basically drop the towel in the water for all intents and purposes. And that allocates that spot to that spirit. What that means is that the spirit will then get in the water and it will stay there. You can't move a spirit once it's in the water. That's important. It's basically like a little puzzle game, because each spirit takes up a different amount of space. Some spirits take up about a single square's worth of space. Some take up 4 squares, and some even more than that. So you've got to sort of Tetris these guys into these pools of water, but they're also a bit sniffy about who they sit with. So different spirits like being around certain other spirits, and they don't like being around certain other spirits. So you have to get to know who they like and who they don't like. You can check on this. There is a kind of guide, and I think the basic rule for it is the spirits are divided by what season they belong to, I think it is. So as long as you've got complementary spirits sat next to each other, they're going to enjoy being there. If you accidentally do put them in the wrong spot and they're next to someone they don't like, you're going to get little frowny faces coming off of them for the duration of their stay. They won't move, and you can't move them. You're just stuck with it. You've made a mistake and you've got to live with it. That's unfortunate. When it's time for them to leave, they'll eject themselves from the premises. They'll leave. You'll see them walk out of the bathhouse. They'll go and put their towel in the towel return slot, and they will pay. If they had a nice time, they pay more. If they didn't, they'll pay less. It's pretty straightforward, but it's worth knowing, because obviously this all plays into the mechanic of the bathhouse. And my goodness, it's so addictive. So there is more to the gameplay loop than that, however. Because when you first open up the bathhouse, there will only be a few spirits coming to visit. It starts off slow, and you'll only have access to one bath, I think. You can quite quickly get a second bath repaired and open by talking to Faye, the blacksmith, and paying her the required amount of money to get her to fix it. That's cool. And you can do that at any time. You won't be able to run the bathhouse while she's in there fixing it, so keep that in mind. You'll lose a day or two. But it's worth doing. Especially, I managed to get the upstairs area with a giant bath fixed up. That's really worth doing if you're having trouble remember which spirits like which spirits, because you can sit them anywhere you want up there. There's a lot more space. You can also buy more towels, which means you can have more people come in. But what you should be doing is checking out that bulletin board outside the grocery store. Well, sorry, the general store. Because the bulletin board tells you about problems people are having around town, such as somebody graffitied the houseboat that one of the people lives in. There are weird plants and things growing around the bath in someone's house, and the bell won't ring up at the monastery. Those are a couple of early game things that you'll be told about, and so you get to go and investigate them and have a look. And essentially, what's going to happen is you're going to go there. You're going to go at different times of day, talk to the people involved, do a little bit of investigating, use your spirit vision. One Yan might pop up and give you some advice as well. And hopefully what will happen is you're going to find that there is a spirit causing these problems. And the spirit will probably want something from you. If you can sort that out, the spirit will then reveal itself. You'll find out who they are, what they look like, which is always it's quite fun seeing the reveal of what you've just found. And then the spirit will come, from that point on, the spirit will start visiting the bathhouse, or rather more of its kind will. And then that sort of leans into the primary gameplay loop. So you're Scooby-Dooing your way around the town, solving people's problems, tearing off the mask, revealing the ghost, and then you're going and doing a sort of entertaining bathhouse game. But there's so much more to this game than just that. Like, there's interacting with the townspeople, making friends with them, and sort of hanging out with them, learning what makes them tick, is a big part of this game. There are some really interesting and fun little mini games as well. You could do a drinking game against a guy down on the beach. There's karaoke, which I don't like. It's not a criticism of the game, I just suck at it. I mean, that's nothing compared to real life, where I am a extreme introvert and absolutely would not sing around anyone, let alone in a karaoke bar. But in the game, the way it's done is with a sort of rhythm-based mini-game, but this thing requires you to keep track of symbols floating out in 4 directions, and I've got no rhythm. I could not do this. I think I've got a clip. I'm probably running it on screen right now. What is going on with that? Like, that's too hard. I can't play this. But for the most part, I mean, I don't think they're actually required. I think they're mostly for fun. You can do them to sort of bond with the townspeople as well. Once you've spoken to someone enough times and sort of formed a basic acquaintanceship with them, they'll invite you to go bug catching or fishing, or indeed karaoke with them, or whatever else. And you can absolutely do that, and it's a nice time. You can, this being the kind of game it is, a cozy game, you can take this thing entirely at your own pace. I played it at a bit of a breakneck speed in order to try and see as much as I could to make this review, but after I've done this review, I can assure you I will continue playing this, and I will do so at a very leisurely pace. Incidentally as well, from what I understand, if you can make friends with the townspeople to a high enough level, you'll start to be able to get more out of them, including, potentially, employing them to help you up at the bathhouse. That would be handy, because running it by yourself is a pain. There is an early spirit that came to live in the bathhouse with me, and they let me know when the wood in the furnace has burned out. They don't refill it or anything, they're not quite that useful, but they do let me know. They make a sound that indicates that I need to go and stoke the fire, so that's pretty cool. I assume there's more stuff like that in the game. I think I should talk about some negatives. There aren't many that I've come across, really. My overall impression of this game is incredibly positive. But I did have a couple of little things that I wasn't super pleased about. The first one was really early on. I was talking to a character called Tifa, who is a tea farmer. She can be found in a field not too far from your house, and she sells you tea leaves, and also she has a hat that she can sell you. And then I discovered that the game popped up a thing after I bought the hat. It said, okay, you've bought some clothing, now you're going to need a wardrobe in order to put it on. And you can get that from the general store. And I thought, that's not cool, game. That's not cool. I don't remember being told that. Why can't I just put a hat on? Why do I need a wardrobe for that? So I went over to the store to see how much it would cost to buy a wardrobe, and they didn't stock the damn thing. Because the store changes its stock constantly. But I was a little bit sort of bothered by that. It irritated me a little bit that something as simple as putting a hat on wasn't possible, and it was 1,000 mulags down the drain. Because that warning shouldn't have come after I bought the thing. It's not great. It's not a major encumbrance, really. You can make 1,000 mulags very easily from the bathhouse. So it's a minor complaint. Spirittea was such a nice little surprise. I wasn't really aware of it beforehand, I'll be honest. I try and keep an eye on the coming soon section, but I didn't see this one coming. I'm grateful to the commenter who suggested I do a video for this one, because this is a great little game. It's brilliant fun. It's got a lot of potential. There's so much more time to spend in this thing. If you're looking for a cozy game with a good addictive hook, a repetitive task that's quite complex, seating characters in the bathhouse. The bathhouse is where the meat of the game is, really. And it continues to get more complex, but there's also just the joy of finding these new spirits. They're all so quirky, they're so fun. It is reminiscent in concept of a Studio Ghibli film, the one, Spirited Away. But yeah, it's got that kind of charm. They're so quirky and interesting. They've all got fun personalities, and the game is constantly surprising me. I won't spoil this for you, but I will hint that there is a moment in this game that I came across in my playthrough where the game broke the fourth wall with how and where a spirit appeared. It seems like I can't tell you without spoiling it, but if you're going to play it, you'll know it when you see it. I thought the game had glitched. I thought there were things were happening on screen that didn't seem like they should be happening, and it took me a while to realise that I was kind of more directly being haunted, like it was happening to me rather than my character. It's so charming and it's so clever, and I can't wait to keep playing to see what else they do. This game's got a lot of interesting ideas, and it executes them fantastically well. Apart from a couple of minor niggles about a very slight lack of guidance, I think is negligible by the fact that you are supposed to just experiment and take your time with the game. And I'd say the only legit complaint I had was that thing about the hat, purchasing it and not being able to actually use it. But that problem gets remedied quite quickly, because the wardrobe will become available to buy, and then you can just buy it. So I think it was only 1,000 mulags again to buy the wardrobe, so it's no big shakes. So anyway, that's Spirittea. This was fun. I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed this game very, very much. It's a fantastic little slice of life game. It's got so much to offer. If this is your kind of thing, if you enjoyed any other game in this genre, then you're going to enjoy this one. It's an easy recommend. I think it's priced pretty well as well, generally speaking, for what I've seen. I'm very happy with the amount of content that appears to be on offer here, and the quality of it, and the charm. It will win you over. I'm quite sure it will. It's a recommend from me, based on my week's work. I really want to emphasise I only played a week. I feel like games like this deserve... It winds me up. You know that thing you see about game reviewers not playing enough of the game to really form an opinion on it. So do take it with a pinch of salt. I've shown you everything that I can of the game. So yeah, hopefully that's enough for you to decide for yourself if you fancy it. Let me know in the comments what you think of this game if you do go for it. And if you've got any other suggestions for me, if you want to see me do other reviews on this channel, please chuck that in the comments too. I'd be more than happy to have a go at it. This is fun. I'm having a good time. So yeah, thanks again for watching this video, and yeah, if you like this, stick around on the channel, like, subscribe, you know how YouTube works, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.